something. I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. I can correct that later.
Molly, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I won't have to call in. Got it.
Yeah, it is.
Molly, can you hear me? Sorry.
Let 'em know we've gone live.
And everyone, we are live on Facebook.
So please continue to sing.
No, I'm good. I think I hit my crescendo there on that one.
Mr. Sisax, how are you, sir? Couldn't hear you.
Sometimes audio takes some time. Stephen, you're on mute.
Larry, it's good to see you. I had a conversation with the mayor about your Trans Am in high school, and it was the coolest ride in all of Reynoldsburg.
It wasn't bad.
We all had a lot more hair then.
Yes.
You're not looking at
Oh.
Facebook.
It went, oh, thank you. Just a reminder today, we will be standing for the Pledge of Allegiance after roll call.
Again, it's not showing everybody on the Facebook end.
Okay.
Let's see if I can change.
Okay. My tablet is not playing nice today. We seem to be having some issues with people being able to stay connected tonight. I'm sure because of what comes after us, there's a lot of people live streaming things to this evening. Mhm. We look good on Facebook. All right.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Molly, I was having trouble getting in and I had to go back out and come back in. Are we all set?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. I would like to call the first Reynoldsburg City Council meeting of the year, January the 11th, 2021, to order at this time, which is now 6:33. I am Council President Angie Jenkins. This meeting is being held virtually and live streamed on the City of Reynoldsburg Government Facebook page. I'd like to call the roll call at this time. Molly, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Strickland,
Here.
Councilmember Salvati,
Here.
Councilmember Pecoro, Councilmember Lawson Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Cutner,
Here.
Councilmember Baker,
Here.
Councilmember Bryant,
Here.
and President Jenkins.
Here. At this time, we would like to have the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone would please stand at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Next, we'll have the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Seeing none, the agenda is approved as submitted. Next, we'll have the approval of minutes. Approval of the City Council regular meeting minutes of December 14th, 2020. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes? Seeing none, the minutes stand approved as submitted. Community comments. The community comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for citizens to address council to bring matters to the attention of City Council. Comments related to tonight's public hearing may be made only during the hearing period. The council president will invite speakers to be recognized and give their name and address. All remarks should be addressed to the council as a whole and not to exceed 3 minutes. This evening, we have a presentation by the Volunteer Energy. Mayor Begany, please introduce our guest, Larry Taylor with Volunteer Energy.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. It is a wonderful occasion when I'm able to present to council some great news. Larry is going to go ahead and tell us a little bit more about some information from Volunteer Energy Services and our agreement with them that allows me to present this check. So Larry, I'll let you go ahead and take it away and so you can inform council the good news.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. I would much rather be in person. I'm an in-person kind of guy, and it's much more fun to hand over a check to the council in the city of Reynoldsburg when in person, but obviously this is going to have to do. Some of you I've known for, wow, 45, 50 years maybe. Some of you I don't know. So my name is Larry Taylor. I'm an energy specialist with Volunteer Energy, and I administer the gas aggregation program for the city of Reynoldsburg. The nice thing about the aggregation program that we have with the city is that it creates 2 wins. The first win is that it's a guaranteed savings of 8% for all the SCO Columbia Gas customers in the city of Reynoldsburg. The second nice thing about this is that way back when we negotiated this agreement, Volunteer Energy agreed to donate 5 cents for every MCF used in the aggregation program back to the city of Reynoldsburg, so you guys could collectively decide how to use that money to benefit the residents of the residents of the city. And again, this is the best part about my job, is I get to present a check. Typically, Mr. Sisak jumps up and runs over and gives me a hug. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do that this evening, but it's my pleasure. We love the relationship, and it's my pleasure to be able to present this check in the amount of $24,167.
And 12 cents.
And 12 cents. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy that this is part of the partnership, and I know the auditor and I are always thrilled anytime that we're actually being able to give money back into the city coffers so we can help it to use it to benefit our community. Auditor Sisak, did you have any comments, any words other than missing the opportunity for a hug?
I want to thank your organization. I know you're based in Pickerington, and I invite you to come and move back to Reynoldsburg.
I'll work on that. Maybe he can just move the whole company over.
That would be wonderful.
A lot of construction going on in Reynoldsburg, so you never know.
That's right.
Second hottest real estate market in the nation.
There you go.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. And thank you for coming this evening, Mr. Taylor, and appreciate the check. Obviously, we're all excited about that, and thank you very much. We all appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you guys, and thank you very much as well.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments from council? Do we have any comments this evening from the community?
Madam President, I did not receive any additional comments.
And Mayor Begany, do you have any other comments this evening?
Yes, Madam President, just one proclamation. You'll have some information in your council packet that will be a little bit more detailed, thanks to former council member Cornelius McGrady, who is on the call this evening. It is my opportunity today for my good friend to declare today basically Human Trafficking Awareness Day. So I do have a proclamation that I will read. Whereas human sex trafficking is a form of modern day slavery and occurs when an adult or child is recruited, harbored, obtained, or exported through force, fraud, or coercion for the purposes of sexual exploitation. And whereas human sex trafficking is growing throughout Cincinnati, Ohio, and the United States, as well as cities in Dayton, Toledo, and Columbus, thriving across geographic and socio-demographic viability and nationally, the criminal enterprise of human trafficking is second only to the illegal drug trade in terms of the speed of its growth being among the most lucrative. And whereas human sex trafficking significantly threatens the safety and well-being of the child victims, some as young as infants, and often coming from foster care system, and vulnerable adults are being purchased, as well as families of buyers, legitimate businesses, and our communities. And whereas there is a growing body of evidence that targeting sex buyers is a pragmatic, effective way to reduce the demand within the commercial sex industry, now therefore I, Joe Begany, Mayor of the City of Reynoldsburg, Ohio, do hereby continue our efforts to combat the commercial sex exploitation of children and vulnerable adults and associates for the public of safety, economic and health risks to our community, in collaboration with the U.S. Institute Against Human Trafficking, Reynoldsburg Diversity, Inclusion, Equality Youth Council, and other anti-human trafficking organizations by combating commercial sexual exploitation through comprehensive education, the implementation and enforcement of a zero tolerance policy against any act which may support the sex trafficking of humans, and ask the citizens of Reynoldsburg to join us in promoting a shift away from the culture of tolerance towards human trafficking. Signed today, January 11th, 2021. Thank you, Cornelius McGrady, for being such a powerful advocate for a long time within this community of Reynoldsburg and the country at large.
Thank you. Did Mr. McGrady have any comments this evening? I believe he's on the Zoom call as well.
Madam President, I know he's having difficult with his video, but he is not muted, so.
Okay, we'll give him a few minutes.
Madam President, he just mentioned on the chat that he had nothing to add at this time.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Next, we'll move on to communications, and we do not have any other additional communications this evening. And next we'll have our motions. We have a motion to approve a resolution of recognition of Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. I would like to welcome Congresswoman Joyce Beatty to our meeting. And Council Member Meredith Lawson-Rowe would like to read our resolution.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. It's with a great honor that I'm able to offer this resolution of appreciation for Congresswoman. Actually, we had on our schedule back last year to recognize her. So thanks, COVID, and thanks for our schedules meshing this evening. So without further ado, Congresswoman Beatty. Whereas in 2012, Joyce Beatty was elected to represent the 3rd Congressional District for Ohio in the United States House of Representatives. And whereas prior to her service in the U.S. House of Representatives, Congresswoman Beatty was Senior Vice President of Outreach and Engagement at the Ohio State University and a member in the Ohio House of Representatives for 5 terms. And whereas during her tenure in the Ohio House, she rose to become the first female Democratic House leader in Ohio's history and was instrumental in spearheading and enacting legislation to require financial literacy in Ohio's public school curriculum, to expand STEM education, and to secure funds to help under and uninsured women across breast and cervical cancer treatment. And whereas in 2014, Congresswoman Beatty's efforts proved pivotal in securing nearly $4 million in federal funds to address Columbus's infant mortality rate, which is one of the highest in the country. And she also brought the Department of House and Urban Development HUD Secretary Sean Donovan to the 3rd Congressional District to announce a $225 million project to revitalize the Near East Side, led by nearly $30 million in federal funds. And whereas during the 114th Congress, Congresswoman Beatty's bipartisan legislation to combat child sex trafficking unanimously passed the House of Representatives and was signed into law as part of a larger measure, the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act by President Obama. That same year, Congresswoman Beatty's bill, the Reimburse Educators Who Pay for Academic Year Repaid Supplies Act of 2015, was later included in a bipartisan tax package. The Protecting Americans from Tax Hikes, PATH Act of 2015 was signed into law on December 18, 2015. She also introduced the Housing Financial Literacy Act of 2015 to improve first-time homebuyers' financial knowledge by providing a discount on Federal Housing Administration, FHA-backed mortgage insurance premiums upon successful completion of a HUD-certified housing counseling course. And whereas the Congresswoman introduced the Free Credit Score Act, and she authorized the Jumpstart Housing Opportunities Utilizing Small Enterprises House Act, or Jumpstart House Act. She also played a major role alongside other federal and local officials in helping the City of Columbus win the Department of Transportation's DOT Smart City Challenge. And whereas Congresswoman Beatty is committed and vocal supporter of the Congressional Black Caucus and the Office of Minority and Women Inclusion, OMWI, which seeks to increase the participation of women and minorities in all facets of the financial marketplace. And whereas Congresswoman Beatty is active in the LINKS, the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Columbus Urban League, the American Heart Association, and whereas the City of Reynoldsburg wants to recognize the service and accomplishments of Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Reynoldsburg that Council does hereby commend and recognize Congresswoman Joyce Beatty for extraordinary leadership, dedication, and efforts in improving the quality of life for the citizens of Ohio and the residents of the 3rd Congressional District. That includes the City of Reynoldsburg. Passed this day, this 14th day of January 2021.
Oops.
Well, today's actually January 11th. And Congresswoman, it's such an honor to watch your servant leadership. We appreciate you. I've invited Ms. Julie Collins to be a part of this call because it's because of her that I met you, and I've lived here for 15 years, and I'm just in awe of all of your leadership and all of your fight for those of us here. And we can go on, and all of your accomplishments from March until now is not included in this because we didn't know that we weren't going to be able to recognize you in March of last year.
Well, let me say, if it is appropriate, first, Mr. Mayor, it's so good to see you, and to you, Councilwoman Lawson Rowe, and all the other council individuals and elected officials and friends, which all of you fall under that category. And certainly to have Julie here is a special honor to me because she is very special to me. We had the opportunity to work together in one of my other tours of duty as a public servant when I was in the Ohio House of Representatives, and her work was stellar as she guided me through many of the issues that you have talked about and many of the things that you see in my career today. Certainly you all know there's always people who stand with you and next to you that helps you to deliver all of the things that you read. But I don't know if you really know how special you are to me. And so I want to say to you, Councilwoman Bryant, thank you, because it was your leadership that continuously, before she was elected, all I heard was Reynoldsburg and Reynoldsburg and our council and what we can do. Well, you know, it's like having a dream. Dreams come true. And so then it was you and Council Member Baker. And we thought we had conquered the world, that I was able to come and see two of you there. And when you came to me and said, we're going to go to take it all, from having someone be president of the council to multiple people on the council, we're going to have the mayor, and then we're going to bring a first-time person that comes from a heritage that people don't even know what country and where he is from to join us. And then we're going to bring everyday people to the table. And we're going to run and do that together. I met Lewis. I met all of the rest of you, and you were strong as a team. And then it was you, Council President. Angie said, don't underestimate us. We are going to win. And then when my two sisters, who are a little special because we have a special bond with our sorority, and that put them in a whole different classification. But I want to say, as I sat here and listened to you read off those things only happened because I have a team in my congressional office, my district office. I know Trenton Weaver, who is of counsel and a lawyer in our office, has always pushed to make sure that Reynoldsburg was at the table and well represented as other municipalities. But tonight is a big thank you. And I'm getting a little emotional now because this has been a very emotional week. And maybe you didn't ask for this, but to have this many elected officials and individuals of authority on this call, we should be very thankful for the community that we come from. Very thankful that we have diverse leaders like you that makes us understand that we will build back better America, that makes us understand that we will not let people come and take over our United States Capitol or let them come and destroy this wonderful America that we live in. We're on a briefing now because there are 4 different insurgent groups that have sent threats that aren't veiled threats. We are on a call with all kinds of leaders who are explaining to us that we do have something to be worried about, but we are bigger and we are better and we will not run and we will not be afraid. But this was a scary time to be in your office and tell people to be told to barricade yourself and lock the door and get on the floor and hide, and to have 3 young staff on the first day of work there. I didn't have time to reflect on my life. I thought about much of what you read, Meredith, about the work that I had done and how I could continue to help people. But when you heard a gunshot and you heard that vulgar language and you heard saw gas bombs going off, but when I saw 15 people scaling the walls of the Capitol and having enough armory to break out the windows and come through wood doors and not even stop when bullets were fired, they were serious about taking over the Capitol. And they had enough of those tie-back things, plastic, to put around the wrist of every member of Congress. So we were very fortunate. No matter what you hear about those who protected us, those who were in the trenches, it was amazing that we did not lose more officers. But at the top, and I'll end with this, where leaders are, and this is relevant to all of us, where leaders are, true leaders. Thank you for leading. because our security leadership failed us and failed the nation and failed those who died, because they did not call in for the National Guard. And when someone was begging for it, it was denied. When 30-some thousand people came to the grounds and took over the Capitol, we were left helpless to be harmed. So I just needed to say that. It's the first time I got to say that out loud, for how grateful I am to be here, and how grateful I am that so many of my colleagues, as you've seen on TV, who were in the balcony and who hit the ground and put on their gas masks. And then they herded us to that secure location that's not so secure anymore, that the whole newspaper knew where we were going. And then there was another problem. It was COVID infested, because many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, even in there with 100 and some members, refused to put on a mask. And this morning, members are testing positive who were in that room. And I am sure it is because of that. So back to the business at hand. Thank you. Thank you for honoring me. It doesn't matter whether it was March of last year or today. This is a resolution that I will frame. I take it with great honor, and I am very honored and privileged to serve. But to have you as part of the 3rd Congressional District means more to me than you'll ever know. Thank you.
Thank you. And we appreciate your support, and we appreciate your public service. We are so happy that you are safe. And do we have any other comments from anyone else on council?
Right here. Thank you for continuing to represent us and to be faced with something so perilous, to face that with courage and bravery. I thank you for protecting our democracy and standing up to those who would otherwise come against it. And I will continue to say you are the best Congresswoman in all the land, and I thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.
Congressman Pacquiao.
President, Congressman now.
I'm sorry, you're not Congress yet. Okay.
I was getting a little worried. As much as I love you, I was getting a little worried.
And I said it's so clear.
Well, and he's in Licking County. He's not in your district.
He's in another district.
I love it. I love it, my congressman there.
Thank you. Thank you, Congressman woman, for coming out and speaking and being the voice of all of us in the Capitol. And again, I just want to reiterate, bring it back that last week is the darkest day of our democracy. It is one of the rarest moments of ever in my life. I thought that refugee camp is better than the United States. I felt that, literally I felt, we were just crawling inside and crying, because we all the way came from the country of origin in the refugee camp, stayed so long and came to the United States, and seeing at how the people are treated, that was what we were discussing at home when we're seeing the Capitol being strong. So thank you for what you do, and your leadership is always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Congresswoman Strickland.
Don't start now, Councilmember Baker. No, I just very quickly, I wanted to say thank you, Congresswoman Betty, for always being there, always on the road, fighting for us, fighting for the least one of us. You're always having the voice. I see you, I'm following you. She is a fighter. She is a fighter for Reynoldsburg. And I just appreciate everything that you do for our community. When we have advice, we can call on you. So thank you so much for just being that Congresswoman who's out there on the front lines and just not talking. She is walking and talking at the same time to make sure that things are happening right here in Reynoldsburg. So thank you so much.
I just want to say,
So much.
I just want to say thank you, Congresswoman Beatty, for everything you've done over the past years and what you're continuing to do. And I'm going to give you in a future thank you for what you're about to do, because what you've done for not just the district, the 3rd Congressional District, which I'm a proud resident of, that what you've done for the whole state of Ohio and the United States, and it's very commended. And I'm going to go out on a limb. If anybody needs to be getting the Congressional Medal of Freedom from Congress, it should be you. And I'm going to take a personal privilege, and I'm going to start calling you Ironside Beatty, because you've done a lot of things. You've been through a lot of things, and you've seen a lot of things. And just let you know, here in the Baker household, we appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. That means so all of the comments, but they're so touching. And you've been so generous with your time. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments this evening?
No, but I'd like to say hi to Julie. Haven't seen in a while.
Hi, Julie. May I have a motion to approve this motion?
I so moved.
I'd like to,
Councilmember Bryant, is there a second?
second.
Councilmember Lawson Rowe, is there any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, for being here and doing what you do. We very much appreciate you. Next, we'll move on to a motion authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept a grant from the Clean Ohio Conservation Program Fund Administration through the Ohio Public Works Commission. Director Bowser or Mayor Begany, do you have any comments?
Thank you, Madam President. This is before you as a motion to go ahead and apply for this grant. We were working on a proposal for this a few years back. This alongside our Parks and Rec Director, Donna Bauman. This will be a relocation of the Blacklick Trail within Huber Park to get it up out of the floodway as we have some erosion that's over in that area, as well as doing some stream bank restoration. This will be back before you if we get accepted for the grant to go over specifics, timelines, and pricing. With that, I just ask that we approve of this motion.
Are there any questions or comments from council?
I guess I have a question then.
Okay.
So what does this cost the city then? This is a grant for 100%. Do we have matching funds that the city will be paying on this? And what does, again, what kind of dollars are we looking at total? What's the scope of this project? I mean, the information we've got is extremely limited. So can you expand so we know what we're looking at?
Yes, absolutely, Councilmember Cotner. So this is one of three different grants that are aligned with the Clean Ohio. This one specifically is for trail movement as well as the stream bank restoration. This portion of the project's about $660,000. It's a 20% match given at that time that the city would be allocated. We're actually working with a couple of different organizations, and then the good thing about this is you can actually double up on the grants. So our goal would be when we apply for the other two grants that are not up for application yet, we'll utilize those dollars to oversee those matching funds. And we have a preliminary plan. We're still working on that, but the goal is to get it before Morpsey and Clean Ohio and get awarded. It's a very small grant. There's only $3 million, and the metro parks typically get a very large portion of that. Alongside, we're competing with every other Central Ohio municipality. So it's tough. We've already been through the screener with them EMH&T is our applicant on our behalf, and we're going to be continuing working with them. When we come back, we'll give you a much more detailed approach of what those costs, and I'll make sure that everyone in council has a packet that outlines those costs, a spreadsheet, as well as the plan for this project specifically.
Okay, so the motion says to apply for and accept it, even though, again, we're presented very little information. And again, it's the first time we've seen it. We're going with an emergency through this. I'm assuming timing is of the essence, that you're presenting and needing emergency all in one fell swoop.
It is, but just to clarify, this is a motion, so it doesn't necessarily need to be an emergency. It's just one read item. We spoke with the auditor, the mayor, and city attorney via some emails that we were having this week and last. And so this is just to apply for. If we are awarded it, we will come back to council with much more detailed information about what those costs will look like to actually accept said grant.
Okay, so would we be changing the language of this motion then? Because it says that we are applying and accepting. So does that put us in the position that by applying and accepting, we're committed?
No, we're not committed. Even if we were awarded it, something were to happen and we weren't able to have the matching funds, the funds would never leave their hand. Those are reimbursement dollars. But I'll pass it on to the city attorney Shook if we need to amend the language that's on this motion this evening.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Director Boucher. Yeah, we discussed this earlier today, and I would echo Councilmember Cotner's concern about the language. And what I reiterated to Director Boucher earlier today was that it needs to be clear to council that this is not an acceptance of the award, that if we are presented with the opportunity to accept such an award, it would have to come back to council for a 3-read ordinance at that time. You could not accept an award by a motion. If you choose to amend the language, that's up to you, but you couldn't accept it by a motion anyway.
Okay. And then Auditor Sisak, these funds would be matching through our CIP, or where would these dollars be coming from on our end that we're matching, or that we're not matching, excuse me, that we are required to put in there?
Councilmember Cotner, I think we still need to have a lot more information and see the application. I think the Director Boucher just mentioned that this is a reimbursement. There's too many variables yet that I don't know. I haven't seen the application to be able to comment on it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Do we have any other questions from anyone on council? What is the deadline for the grant, and when will we know if we've been accepted to receive it?
This particular grant, I believe, will be made known to us by the end of the summertime, and around that time is the approximate time that we'll be submitting for the other 2 grants that would help alleviate any of the cost factors with that. It would basically be something where, even though the grants were either applied for or received this year, none of those funds would actually come out until the year of 2022, outside of potential engineering funds early on, if available, which again would be covered by the grant.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions? May I have a motion to approve this motion? Councilmember Bryant, is there a second?
A second.
Councilmember Savati, is there any other further discussion?
So I'll just clarify then that even though we are leaving the language as is, this still does not, again, given the language as Mr. Attorney Shook stated, it still does not require us to accept it until we have more information and we're able to make that decision at that point. So again, I'm fine leaving the language as it is. I appreciate the clarification on that though, Attorney Shook, just so everybody understands where we would be and how the process would work. So thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries. Item C is I'm getting a little feedback, so I apologize. A motion to affirm the appointment of Jodelle M. D. Amicio and Stephen Castro to the Civil Service Commission. This motion is a housekeeping issue. The mayor appoints members to the Civil Service Commission and council affirms those appointments. Are there any questions or comments from council? Are they on the call this evening or?
No, Madam President, not this evening.
Okay. Do we have any questions from anyone on council regarding these appointments? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pacquiao. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Baker. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries. Item D on our agenda is a motion to hereby confirm the mayoral appointment of Pastor Robert Linder to serve on the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals for a term beginning January 1, 2021 through January 1, 2024. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pacquiao, is there a second?
Second.
I'm not sure who, Councilwoman Strickland? Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item E is a motion to hereby confirm the mayoral appointments of Pat Zolars and Tyler Cullion to serve on the Planning Commission for a term beginning January 1, 2021 through January 31st, 2024. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
I so move.
Councilmember Strickland, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Bryant, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. A motion to recommend the appointment of Stacy Baker as the council representative to the West Licking Joint Fire District Board for 2021. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pacquiao, is there a second?
Second.
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 Councilmember Bryant, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item G is a motion to recommend the appointment of Barth Cotner as the council representative to the Reynoldsburg Visitors Bureau. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
I so move.
Councilmember Strickland, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lawson Rowe, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item H, a motion appointing Stephen Cisak and Chris Shook to serve on the Volunteer Peace Officers Dependent Fund. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Baker, is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Lawson Rowe, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item H is a motion to recommend the appointment of Christian Bryan to serve as the president pro tempore of council for the period beginning January 11th, 2021 until the next council organization meeting in January 2022. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
So moved.
Motion.
Councilwoman Lawson Rowe, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Baker, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item J is a motion to recommend the appointment of temporary committee chairs. I move to recommend the appointment of Stacy Baker as temporary chair of the Development, Parks and Recreation Committee, Christian Bryant as temporary chair of the Public Safety Law and Courts Committee, Shawnette Strickland as the temporary chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee, and Lou Savati as the temporary chair of the Finance and Administration Committee. Are there any questions or comments from council? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
I move.
Councilwoman Lawson Rowe, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Bryant, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Item K is a motion to recommend the appointment of council members to council committees effective January the 11th, 2021, until the next council organization meeting in January 2022. I move to recommend the appointment of Stacy Baker, Barth Cotner, Meredith Lawson Rowe, and Boone Packerell to the Development, Parks and Recreation Committee. The appointment of Christian Bryant, Barth Cotner, Meredith Lawson Rowe, and Boone Packerell to the Public Safety Law Courts Committee. The appointment of Shawnette Strickland, Barth Cotner, Meredith Lawson Rowe, and Boone Packerell to the Public Service and Transportation Committee, and Lou Savati, Stacy Baker, Christian Bryant, and Shawnette Strickland to the Finance and Administration Committee. Are there any questions or comments from council on this motion? May I have a motion to approve this motion?
So
I
moved.
so move.
Councilwoman Lawson Rowe, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Packerell, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? The motion carries. Next, we'll move to our reports. Would the clerk please read the court report?
This report is for November 5th, November 12th, November 19th, and November 26th. And the clerk of court received $15,806 for the month.
Thank you. Next will be a liquor permit on the reports. Chief Baker, please provide your report regarding this permit request.
Good evening, Madam President. I'm this Deputy Chief Griselle and here for Chief Baker.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I said, okay.
Okay. The application is for a liquor permit for a restaurant at 7679 East Main Street, where the old Rev Cafe was. The permit is for beer, wine, and mixed beverages. And the owners are 4 partners and are listed as Mudran Incorporated. That's MUDRAN. They hold no other liquor permits and have no prior violations. We do not recommend a hearing for this application.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to Development, Parks and Recreation Committee, Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the Development, Parks and Recreation Committee for January 11th, 2021. Members in attendance are Councilmember Cotner, Lawson Rowe, Packerell, and myself, and you, Madam President. The committee must select its own chair, so that will be the first item on the agenda for this committee, is the election of a committee chair. I open the floor for nominations for the chair of the Development, Parks and Recreation Committee. Individuals may nominate themselves with a second, any nomination. So is there any nomination for chair of this committee?
I nominate you to be a chair for the committee.
Okay, is there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, I close nominations. Is there any?
Councilmember-
Yes.
Councilmember Baker, you need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Lawson Rowe. Thank you. And last call for nominations. Okay. Seeing none, I close nominations. Is there any discussion about the nomination? Okay. Seeing none. All those in favor of appointing Councilmember Baker as chair of the Development, Parks and Recreation Committee, say aye.
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 And all opposed? Seeing how none, ayes have it. Thank you for re-electing me as chair of the Development, Park and Recreation Committee. I really appreciate it. Moving on to the second item on the agenda is an election of a committee vice chair. I open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the Development, Park and Recreation Committee. And individuals may nominate themselves with a second. Are there any nominations? I would like to open up the floor and nominate Councilmember Pacquiao to be vice chair of the Development, Park and Recreation Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Lawson Rowe. Is there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, I close nominations. Is there any discussion about this nomination? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of making Councilmember Pacquiao vice chair of the Development, Park and Recreation Committee, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, Councilmember Pacquiao, you've been voted vice chair of the Development, Park and Recreation Committee. Congratulations. Moving on to the third item for our committee is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for the 2021-2022 landscape service contract and appropriating funds therefore. Director Boucher, would you like to comment on this legislation?
No, but Director Bauman would.
Dr. Bauman.
I'm sorry, Director Bauman. How are you doing this fine evening?
I am doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Good. Well, thank you, Chairman Baker, members of the committee, members of council. This legislation before you tonight is requesting authorization for the mayor to enter into contract with Yard Solutions for the landscaping services for 2021 and 2022. So the landscaping services would be, which is streetscape, which goes from City Hall to Bryce Road. So any of the softscape throughout there, that is what the landscaping services is for. Mulch, pruning of trees, taking care of the perennials, all of that good stuff that goes with it. The contract for 1 year is $89,830.91. That is a 2-year contract. So this would be the same price for 2021 and again for 2022. So for the 2 years, it brings the total contract to $169,795.70. We do not need to appropriate funds, as I did have that included in the 2021 budget.
Okay. Is there any questions from the committee to Director Bauman about this ordinance?
I have just one question. This is every year regular thing that we do, right?
We do this every 2 years. So we'll do this year, which will cover this year, 21. And then it will cover 2022. And then in 2022, probably around November, we will take it out to bid again for 23 and 24.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Councilman Cotner?
Thank you. Nothing too significant other than just kind of sharing a little more information. Director Bauman, thank you for the explanation as to why you're recommending Yard Solutions. I thought that was important to have in the packet for us. And Yard Solutions is who we have had currently. And 2 years that we've had them now, is that correct?
Yes, Yard Solutions
Okay.
was awarded the contract for 19 and for 20.
Okay.
And it was quite I will not lie, it was quite a nightmare that they took over. And I think they've done a really great job in getting us back into track.
I think they've done really well. I think we heard critiques and complaints in some years past, and we really weren't getting the value that we were paying. So I think that I think that Yard Solutions has done a good job for the city. And again, I think though, just explaining why you saw that bid better was again, just I thought it was really important, and the itemization in there was valuable for council to see what has happened, because I know in the past there has even been discussion about whether the city should take that on and do it on our own in-house versus utilizing this third party. So I thought it was good to have all that breakdown. So thank you for that. And the one other point, just to clarify, there were only 2 bids. You presented us 2. Is that the only thing that was the only ones that?
So those were, it was Yard Solutions, and then Grass Groomers was the lowest bid. Yard Solutions was the next lowest. The other 2 were substantially higher.
Okay.
I think there were 2 others. There could have been 3. I'm sorry, I don't have that. I think there were 2.
Auditor Sisak, I saw a hand motion. Is that 3 fingers? Okay, thank you. So again, I just wanted to make sure though, I thought that this was a good piece of information and useful to show how the process should work to explain everything. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yard Solution is on the line if anybody has any questions for them. We have Jana and Quinn.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Any members from council have any questions?
I apologize. I'm going to step back actually and say another question or comment. Because as soon as I said no, there's going to be some significant work along Main Street this year. Do they have a plan and a strategy in place to tackle that as some of these additional headaches will take place from the state this year?
The portion where the streetscape is will not be affected by any of the construction going on, because it's the beds, the maintenance, the flower beds, they're back far enough off of the road that they should not be impacted.
Just to, if you don't mind if I just jump in here, we're used to working around a lot of curveballs. It's something that comes with the job. We look forward to the challenges, and I don't really anticipate any major problems with it moving forward.
Yep, fair enough. I knew you'd taken it into account, but again, just trying to think through that process, because it even though it's not on the road itself, it's still gonna be an impact. So thank you.
And a lot of the bigger items that are taken care of, such as the mulching and stuff, sometimes that takes place on the weekends or later in the evening, so that it's not to affect traffic flow and so forth.
Yeah, we actually, when we're doing major services such as putting down mulch and things like that, we want to do it with as little traffic as possible, as little pedestrian interaction and stuff like that. So I believe the last 2 years we hit it pretty hard on Saturday mornings, just so that it wouldn't impact just general traffic flow and any pedestrians utilizing city sidewalks.
Councilwoman Bryant, did you have a question? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I saw your hand up. Is there any other questions from the committee or council? Okay. Seeing none, excuse me. I'll make the motion that we move this ordinance forward to council for its first reading. Is there a second? Councilman Pacquiao. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. This ordinance will be moved. This ordinance will be moved forward to council for its first reading. The second item the last item on the agenda for the committee is an ordinance to authorize the mayor to enter in a contract for the 2021-2022 irrigation services contract and appropriating funds therefore. Are there any questions from the committee regarding this ordinance?
Ordinance that we're requesting authorization to enter into contract with is with EMI, Environmental Management and Services. They will take care of the irrigation, so the watering of the streetscape. So we have irrigation that runs underneath there from City Hall to Bryce Road, and they are the ones that we are contracting out with, or would like to contract out with, to do any maintenance to that service Their contract price is $18,000 per year, which is a 2-year contract total then for $36,000. Once again, this contract is the same for 21 and for 22, just as landscape. We do them every 2 years. EMI currently holds the contract for the irrigation services for, well, they were the irrigation contractor for 19 and 20. And we don't need to have funds appropriated. I already put that into the budget.
Okay. Is there any questions for Director Bauman on this ordinance? Nope. Any from the council about this ordinance? Okay, seeing none. I move that we forward this ordinance to council for its first reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Pacquiao. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Ayes have it. This ordinance will be moved forward to council for its first reading. As there is
Thank
no, you're welcome, Ms. Bauman. As there is no further business before the Development Park and Recreation Committee, I return things over to you, Madam President.
Thank you. Our next report will come from Public Safety, Law and Courts Committee. Councilmember Bryant, please.
Thank you, President Jenkins. The only thing we have on tonight is selection of the chair and vice chair. So we're going to start with the election of the committee chair. Those in attendance tonight are myself, Vice Chair Meredith Lawson Rowe, Councilmember Peccarel, Councilmember Cotner, and myself, and President Jenkins. For the election of the committee chair, anyone can make a nomination, including nominating themselves. So do we have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate you, Councilmember Kristen Bryant, as chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Lawson Rowe. Do we have any other nominations? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
We need a second.
I'm sorry, we need a second.
A second.
Thank you, Councilmember Peccarel. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. And now on to selection of the vice chair of the committee. We're accepting nominations. You can nominate yourself. And I would like to nominate Councilmember Lawson Rowe. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Peccarel. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you, Councilmember Lawson Rowe. And that concludes the Public Safety, Law and Courts Committee meeting.
Thank you. Next in the reports, we have Public Service and Transportation Committee. Councilmember Strickland.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. This is the Public Service and Transportation Committee meeting for January 11, 2021. Members are in attendance: Councilmember Cotner, Councilmember Lawson Rowe, Councilmember Pacquiao, and temporary Chair Strickland and President Jenkins. The committee must select its own chair and vice chair. First, the election of committee chair. I open the floor for nomination for chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee. Individuals may nominate themselves with a second. Any nominations?
I'd like to nominate you to continue service, Councilwoman Strickland.
Thank you, Councilmember Lawson Rowe. Any other nominations?
We need a second.
May I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Councilmember Pacquiao. All in favor for appointing Councilmember Strickland, Chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you. I love serving the community and working with you all. All right. Next, I would like to election for committee chair, vice chair. I open the floor for nomination for vice chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee. Individuals may nominate themselves with a second. Any nominations? I would like to nominate Councilmember Lawson Rowe for vice chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Lawson Rowe. All in favor of appointing Councilmember Lawson Rowe for vice chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee, say aye.
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 All opposed? Councilmember Lawson Rowe is elected vice chair of the Public Service and Transportation Committee. As there is no further business for the Public Service and Transportation Committee, I return the meeting back to you, President Jenkins.
Thank you. Next on our list of reports, item E is the Finance and Administration Committee, and that will be Councilmember Savati.
Thank you, President Jenkins. Good evening. This is the Finance and Administration Committee meeting for January 11th, 2021. Members in attendance are Councilmember Baker, Councilmember Bryant, Councilmember Strickland, Temporary Chair Salvati, and President Jenkins. The committee will must select its own chair and vice chair. So a little deja vu. So election of the committee chair. I open the floor for nominations for chair of the Finance and Administration Committee. Individuals may nominate themselves with a second. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Lou, you as chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Strickland. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilmember Baker. For a second, do I have any more nominations? All right, seeing none, I will close the nominations. Any discussion at all? All right. All in favor of appointing Councilmember Salvati, myself, Chair of the Finance and Administration Committee, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much. I am honored. I am, I guess, elected as Chair of the Finance and Administration Committee. Second piece of agenda item is election of the committee vice chair. I open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the Finance and Administration Committee. Individuals may nominate themselves with a second. Any nominations? I would like to nominate Councilmember Baker. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, I'm sorry.
All right, so we have second. Any other nominations? All right. I will close the nominations. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of appointing Councilmember Baker, Vice Chair of the Finance Administration Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Councilmember Baker is elected the Vice Chair of the Finance and Administration Committee. As there's no further business with the Finance and Administration Committee, I return the meeting to President Jenkins.
Thank you. Item 10 is consent agenda for first reading. Items 10A and B are part of a consent agenda. These ordinances stand for a first reading unless someone wants to remove an item for further discussion. Council will move forward with a first reading. Would the clerk please read items 10A and B?
Item A, excuse me. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for the 2021-2022 landscape services contract and appropriating funds therefore. Item B, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for the 2021-2022 irrigation service contract and appropriating funds therefore.
These ordinances stand for a first reading. Item 11, consent agenda for a second reading. Items 11A are part of a consent agenda. These ordinances stand for a first reading unless someone wants to remove an item for further discussions. Council will move forward with a second reading. Would the clerk please read item 11A?
A, an ordinance to approve the final plat plan for the Spring Hill Farm development.
This ordinance stands for a second reading. Item 12 on the agenda is other council matters. Does anyone on council have any further items that they would like to discuss?
Excuse me, Madam President, may I just offer an announcement for the holiday, Martin Luther King Day, which is January 18th. My council colleagues and I will be handing out free PPE equipment as a part of our National Day of Service. And I'm sure everyone on the call and our residents are aware that Martin Luther King holiday is a day on and not a day off. And so we will ensure that we'll be out there, let's see, Monday, January 18th, the King holiday in front of City Hall from 12 until 2 while supplies last. And so we look forward to seeing everyone, and we have much work to do, but we need to make sure everyone is safe so we can continue the work and take it to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilwoman Strickland.
Yes, I would just like to acknowledge and wish the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated a happy Founders Day. We've been in existence since 1913. We are celebrating 108 years of service. As Congresswoman mentioned, Councilwoman Lawson Rowe and myself are members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And a few things that we concentrate on is making sure economic development is called our programmatic thrust. Economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. I know we've been working in our community. This is who we are. And so I just wanted to make sure that I give a special shout out to my sorority sisters who are still working in our community, even past college. We are excited to continue the work, and just a quick shout out to the Deltas.
Thank you. And congratulations on working so hard in the community, not just with Reynoldsburg City Council, but with your sorority. So we appreciate all the work that you do. Does anyone else? Yes, Councilman Baker.
I'm gonna be quick because the game's going to come on. First of all, go Bucks. Second of all, go Browns. Third of all, thank you for everybody who's helping the community, United States and world get through this pandemic. I do want to continue with that tradition from those who are working as essential workers to our residents. Thank you for helping the city get through this. And and a shout out to the Lady Raiders because I've been monitoring, they've been kicking butt. So I have to give a shout out where it's due. But other than that, go Bucks.
Does anyone else from council or anyone else have any other comments this evening?
Council members, I'd like to offer my thanks for letting me continue to serve on that board. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for serving. Do we have any other comments from council?
It was one thing last. I just want to thank our teachers and schools for going through all these difficult times and continuing to educate our children, and for all the parents staying home and staying in front of a computer. Kids are like it's not an easy time for them. All 7, 8 hours, 6 hours even for like, let's say third, second, fourth, whatever grades they are in. So they are going through. Hopefully there's a light in the tunnel at the end. Hopefully we'll be starting the schools. So I want to thank all the teachers, principals, administrators, and parents, and the most important thanks to our students for getting through this pandemic and getting out of this hopefully soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'd
shout
like to
out.
also add that Reynolds Community Association is postponing their February spaghetti dinner for all of those who normally attend. I know most of us usually do. That has been postponed until possibly a later date. Yes, Councilmember Baker.
Just a quick shout out, happy birthday to my beautiful wife. Want to give a shout out. I'm not going to tell y'all her age because she'll get mad at me. So just happy birthday to my wife.
Yes, happy birthday to your wifey. So do we have any other comments from council? Upcoming meetings, there is a schedule of upcoming council, BZBA, and Planning Commission meetings. Council anticipates continuing with virtual meetings until further notice. Please note the next council meeting is scheduled for Monday, January the 25th, 2021, beginning at 6:30. Unless there's no other further additional business, this meeting is adjourned and the time is now 7:46. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
All right.